understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, March 31st, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we've got lucky number 7 new episodes this week.
7.
It'd be nice if it was one day a week. You know, like one every day of the week, but it is not. It is not that at all. So.
No, that jam-packed Monday. Although, I know Lucifer is taking a couple weeks off.
It is. And let's see, Flash is off for a little bit too. So we'll continue to have a little bit of a break from that. I think Legends and iZombie are pushing through. Gotham's pushing through.
Yeah, I gotta check. I don't think we're gonna end up having a week with 8 shows, though. Because I think Legends...
We could have done it, though.
Yeah, because I think by the time Black Lightning finishes its run, not all the other shows will be back. I gotta check on that, but... So yeah.
We've been doing the podcaster version of cross training to get ready for 8 shows in a week. We were prepared. Our bodies were ready. Like, I am one with the couch. My laptop has its place on my knees. It's I was set. I was ready. Yeah. But yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, man. I had my highlighters and my clipboard set up. I keep a memo pad on a clipboard. Just color coding notes during commercial breaks. And
I'm picturing executive producer Bill Sweeney behind you with a stopwatch and a whistle. Just like, faster, highlight, cap and uncap.
No.
Highlights.
Yeah, I gave him those things, and he's twirling the whistle, and he lost the stopwatch, and he's sitting on the table behind the couch with his feet up and a cigarette, half watching the show. He goes, "Oh, yeah, you got it, Ed. You're fine. You're fine. Don't, you don't need to stress it. You don't need to stress it. You don't need all those markers. You don't.
You do, though. You have the right podcast co-host because you need all the highlighter colors. You need all the markers. You need the fine point and the chisel tip. I mean, you need all of them. A small segment of our listenership were just like, fine point and chisel tip. True.
Lot to get to this week. We didn't get many emails. Actually, we didn't get any emails. But if you do want to drop us a line, it's dctv@wickedtheory.com. And if you want to check, if you do want to check out, if you go to wickedtheory.com, we do post some articles up there anytime, just random blog pieces that Bill and I may have, and you can see what's going on with Wicked Theory Studios and the like. Check that out every once in a while, just to see what's going on. You never know what random clip or thing you might find there. There's some interesting stuff.
Delightful randomness. That's a good way to describe it.
Yes. And we did get some nice tweets this week. That I won't go into now because they're show specific, but there's a lot going on, and I don't know. I keep we're gonna see there might be some shakeups going on at Wicked Theory. I'm not saying anything, and I'm probably gonna get yelled at for what I'm doing right now. But
am I getting fired?
No.
Are you doing this live on the air? Oh my God, this is
not at all, Sarah. Sarah, you're fine. You're golden. No. It's some other things might get pushed into action that Bill and Jay and I and everyone else have been futzing around with.
Well, that's exciting. So we should keep an eye on Twitter.
Yeah, keep an eye on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I would say that, the people who are probably safest are you, because you do your job amazingly. You always exceed what we ask for, and Bob, because he lives with Bill. So
over preparation and proximity are how you get and keep a job. Got it.
Yeah. And they're brothers. So,
That's true.
There's one guy who knows how to play a guitar. And it's finding those valuable skills. But that's enough about us. Actually, how are you doing, Sarah?
I will say, at the time that this podcast drops, it is officially my birthday week, so I will accept, congratulations, candy, flowers, jokes about age. Last year was a big major milestone birthday for me, so this year is just like a year closer to death. I think that's how it is for the rest of time for me. Just one more year closer to the grave.
Well, happy birthday!
Thank you.
and what's your cake? What's your birthday cake?
That's what my mom asked me this. I'm glad you asked. This is the most important thing we're going to talk about tonight. So for me, it's all about a chocolate cake with a kind of cherry filling. And then white icing, buttercream, not any of that like whipped nonsense, and certainly not cream cheese. But the chocolate cake, the cherry filling, and then the buttercream white, perfect. It's perfection.
So that's almost like a Black Forest kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. It very much is. A lot of the Black Forest cakes you see have the more whipped icing, which, as I've said, garbage. Don't come at me with your whipped icing.
Okay, that's cool.
But my mom has a recipe that puts actually the cherries in the chocolate cake as opposed to as a filling, and that's really good. Very moist. I have the recipe. Hit me up on Twitter if you want it. But that's. I mean, what's a birthday for? Genuinely, it's that you get to be the monster who picks the cake. No, not that. Get out of here with that. No, is that white cake? What is this? Get it gone.
That's funny. I went through a Black Forest phase when I was like 8 or 9, and you could never get enough cherries. You could never really get enough cherries in there. So
true.
That actually
This is true.
that sounds really fun. All right. So you want to talk about some DC TV?
Yeah, we have a couple of big DC TV kind of sweeping stories that we'll start things off with. And one is about the fate of some of the shows. Oh,
I'm sorry. I meant, do you want to start the recaps? We could do news. We could do news after the recaps.
That's fair and good. It's good that you said that. It's good that you said that. Yeah, let's do some recaps.
I'm sorry. Okay. There was a mix-up in the pre-show meeting.
No! I insist.
All right. So let's start off with the first recap. What's our first show? Oh, Lucifer. Season 3, episode 19. Orange is the new maize. A body turned up on the beach, and all evidence pointed to Mazikeen. Marcus and Chloe's relationship was still going, and Chloe became self-conscious around Lucifer about it. Charlotte went against Dr. Linda's advice and went to Amenadiel and Lucifer to learn more about her stay in hell. Last-minute reveal, Marcus stopped Maze from leaving town and offered to be her revenge partner.
I mean, you got to pick a good revenge partner. It's the only way your revenge is going to work.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, you look at Maisie's resume.
She's 100% your go-to revenge partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I am really glad that the show fleshed out Maze a little bit here, because she had been frustratingly angry. And this, I don't think anybody was surprised by the real cause, but I mean, it's humans and their icky emotions just got all their feelings all over her and she couldn't deal with it, and that makes sense. It's logical. And I'm glad we got to work through that. But boy, the case did not matter one little bit this week, did it?
No.
Even more than usual.
Well, it's weird because I think because the case pointed to Maze, I mean, they did solve it in the end. But yeah. There wasn't really any kind of, they interviewed two people, and it's weird. It's almost like, oh, we have to throw in these two people in the beginning because they're going to end up being the murderers at the end, and there's no other connection to them at all.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, Chloe has a house moment, and boom, we're at the winery. But yeah, you know, I did enjoy that. I still, you know, it's almost weird. Like I didn't quite understand Lucifer's reasoning to like, why can't you just like open an extra portal and just let her walk through? Like she probably would be happier down there right now.
To me, it drives home the prioritizing of Chloe over everybody else, and that he's Lucifer has been growing a little bit this season. I really think he's still selfish, but he is a little more aware of other people and a little more thoughtful, and I'm enjoying that aspect of the season. But when it comes right down to it, he doesn't want to endanger Chloe. I get that, and I think I was, for Maze to admit that she doesn't want to be a consolation prize, that had to take a lot. I mean, that was a big stretch for her. So, you know, you kind of had to have him be kind of a dick about it. And he was. But because you're right, what's one little portal? In fact, wouldn't God want the torturer in hell as opposed to running around Earth? That just feels like a safer place. So that doesn't feel like a punish my son kind of thing. So, yeah. And then there's Chloe. Chloe and Pierce continue to give off the sizzling electricity of damp cardboard. And Ella continues to be a lunatic who's just like, they're so hot. No. I'm worried about Ella. Legit.
You know, like, because she has a crush on Marcus. Like, that's the other thing that's evident. Like, Ella really is head over heels. And she's not admitting that.
Well, nobody's admitting anything. Lucifer, I put it, I recap this for EW.com as I do every week. And I put in my recap that Lucifer's basically doing his best. This is fine. Fire dog. This is fine. I'm fine with this. And he's not being honest. Chloe clearly is so squirrely around Pierce about Lucifer and Lucifer about Pierce and wearing the necklace and taking the necklace off. It's like, she knows what she's doing. She's screwing around Lucifer, and she, you know, I shouldn't say that. She is allowed to date whoever she wants, but clearly there are feelings there that she is not being honest about with herself, with other people. And I'm just, if this leads to where I think it's going to lead to, and we can talk about this in the news section, then it will all be worth it. But right now, I find Chloe to be frustratingly wishy-washy because clearly she's not totally cool, totes friends with Lucifer, and that's just disingenuous of her to insist otherwise. And Pierce, what's his deal?
Well, I've been thinking about this. Would it have been a better approach in the season to have them just be dating rather than having Marcus be the police captain? If, like,
how amazing would it have been if they were just dating and he's a great guy and only Lucifer's like, I don't like the smell of him. Yeah. I don't like it. And he's increasingly paranoid. And then you realize, oh shit, he's the world's first murderer. Lucifer's right. Ooh. Oh, Ed, why aren't you writing this season? That would have been good. But I think we're back again to Pierce having secrets, which I don't think is Tom Welling's strong suit as an actor. Sorry, Tom Welling. I felt like early Pierce, when he was just this opaque mystery, didn't work for me. And then when we realized who he is, he loosened up and he relaxed into it, and it was fun. And now we're back to hidden motivation for what he's doing with Chloe, and it's back to being opaque in a way that I don't find interesting. So.
Yeah. I feel like, especially all the Marcus and Chloe stuff, it was spinning tires. There was no movement forward. Like literally, I had to put it in that sentence because I had to mention it because they spent a lot of time in the episode on it. But really, it had no. You could have taken that out, and it would not have hurt the story at all.
I mean, the forward motion that we had was they haven't slept together, but weirdly they're kissing at work, even though he's her supervisor. And then she stopped wearing Lucifer's necklace and decided to basically go home with him, which I read as, we gonna bone. And so I think that is the momentum. And then that night he shows up to stop Maze from leaving town. So clearly it was not an all night thing with Chloe. So I don't even know. It's all over the place. And not in a way that is interesting or authentic as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to choose to focus on, Lucifer, Maze, and Linda, Amenadiel, and Lucifer again.
Yeah. And let's talk about Charlotte. Did you find it interesting? She really is a victim of circumstance and people not understanding what's going on before they talk to her.
Yes.
Because Amenadiel kind of like gave her the truth without telling her all of the celestial elements to it. And so,
which is basically worse, I think.
Yeah. Now, that just sounds, horrible. It sounds like someone should be on trial for what happened to her.
I know I don't have to ask this because the answer is yes, but you remember Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yes.
She needs one of those cards. They needed to hand her a card that says, I had my memory erased. Please don't bring up anything that happened over the last 6 months. Thank you.
Yeah. And then the joke of it is that she goes to Lucifer, telling her, oh, Amenadiel told me everything. And then Lucifer actually tells her everything.
And in a way that he usually does where nobody believes him, but she kind of sort of does, which I really love when, it's the running gag in Grosse Point Blank that John Cusack all along, I'm a professional killer. Oh, you get dental with that? Nobody believes him. But he does this whole download thing on Charlotte and she's just like, oh, this explains everything. Or this has broken my brain. So, I love it. The casual info dump was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I really feel for Dr. Linda at this point because I think she's kind of right. Although in a sense, I think Charlotte does deserve to know what happened to her. But the way that it's been revealed is really kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of right. I think Charlotte's obviously been through things and she shouldn't just be left on her own. But I also am with Amenadiel that I think she deserves to know. I also, I understand where Maze is coming from with the betrayal and the hurt. I think she overreacted, but, I get why Maze reacted the way she did. I get why Linda and Amenadiel snuck around. I mean, I really do think everybody has legitimate points in all of this. I do think that sitting Charlotte down and being like, okay, this is a safe space. We're all here for you. Your body was a vessel for the goddess of all creation. That's just how it went. You were in hell. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, I
would have been helpful.
I also think, I definitely don't think she should have brought them in the room, but I think Dr. Linda should have at least told Amenadiel and Lucifer, hey, I'm taking on Charlotte as a patient. So... Yeah.
If you see her around,
stay away.
FYI.
Yeah. But yeah. I at least I thought that story had some interesting forward movement to it.
Yes, I agree. That probably had the most momentum, action, interest for me. And anytime Lucifer unfurls his wings, and in this case doing it, I feel like for compassionate reasons, was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And again, it goes along with that personal growth that we've seen for Lucifer. He was trying to help Charlotte. He's not always a bad, selfish hedonist. Yeah. He's 98% of the time a bad, selfish hedonist, but the other 2% is a lot of fun to watch.
All right. Cool. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with the episode?
Transitioning into news would allow me to talk about the episode a little bit if you're ready for that. And that is that Lucifer's taken a couple of weeks off. It'll be back on April 16th for, I believe, its final run of episodes. And the preview shows Lucifer finally losing his cool with Chloe about Pierce and saying, you need to know the truth about him in an agitated, angry way that I am all about. So if all of this stupid Pierce ridiculousness is what finally leads Lucifer to say, this is who I am, this is who he is, this is what's really going on, and this is the big reveal, then great. It will all have been worth it if it finally gets Lucifer to be honest and gets Chloe to truly believe him. If this is upping the stakes in a way that's going to happen. And Lucifer losing his cool is one of my favorite things. Angry, frustrated, in love Lucifer. Oh, that's why I watch this show. So I'm hoping that's what we're seeing. But you know how previews can be edited to make anybody look like anything. Speaking of, Pierce looks like a real bad guy in this preview for the April 16th episode. So we'll see if it lives up to the promise of that. I'm pleased with the direction.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see.
We'll see. The other weird bit of news, the show is filming an episode now that features Ella's childhood friend who happens to be a ghost, played by Charlene Yee from House. However, it's slated to be a standalone episode in season 4 should they get one. So I find it really strange that they're going to the time and effort to film an episode for a season that hasn't been greenlit yet. To me, that means probably good things about what they're hearing from the network. But maybe I'm just being optimistic, and this is just going to be one of those lost, forget it, Jack, it's Chinatown.
Yeah.
Jake, it's Chinatown. Whatever J name, it's Chinatown.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't go the way of Perilous. But, yeah, that does sound weird, but optimistic, I think.
Yeah, and I thought some of the standalone episodes were some of the strongest ones this season, so if this is another standalone type for next season, I hope they continue to bring that quality to those.
Cool.
And that is what I've got for Lucifer.
All right. So, next up, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Season 3, Episode 16, I, Ava. Gary asked Sara and Ray to help him find the MIA Ava, and the trio learned that Ava was a genetically engineered super clone from the year 2213. Zari tried helping Mick learn to control his new totem powers. The other legends got into a mess of trouble with Kawasa and the Darks over the remaining totems. Last minute reveal, Amaya stole the jump ship and headed off to 1992 Zambezi in an effort to save her granddaughters.
This was a busy episode.
Yeah, lot going on here. And
here's my first question. I'm genuinely asking, is Nate's hair really that good? It's come up a lot, and it's just hair. It's not that good.
Well,
I mean, is it just me?
It's got the spike, and there's direction, and I don't know. It's not bad hair. It's stylish.
It's not bad hair. I just don't feel like it's exceptional hair. I don't know.
That's true. It's not.
It's just they brought it up a lot.
It's not former Virginia Governor Bob McConnell. That's
deep cut.
That is the most perfect hair ever put on a male human head. Nothing's gonna beat that. If you don't believe me, Google it. The man may have been indicted, but when he introduced Paul Ryan to be as Mitt Romney's vice presidential candidate, the whole world said, I can't focus on anything Paul Ryan's saying because I can't stop staring at that man's hair.
But honestly, you get Romney Ryan on stage there as well. That's a lot of good hair. That's just a lot of thick man hair.
Ryan's not. Romney's hair is good, but still,
it's very, very presidential.
Still, Bob McDonald.
Wow. Okay, this took a hard right turn. Literally.
So yeah, legends.
Okay, anyway. Let's see. I continue to be delighted by Zari. What a great addition this season. She is such a strong, fun, different character. I love her interacting with Mick. It hasn't been a legend that I haven't enjoyed watching her bounce off of this season. I'm so glad she's on the jump ship or on the ship.
Yeah. Although I will say that storyline doesn't make sense in the larger scope of what's going on in this season, because with everything that Amaya and Nate and Wally are getting into, Zari and Mick should be in that mix. And
true.
I don't know if it was a matter of shooting days or something, or they just didn't want that many people in the scene. But for both ends of the ship to be going through all of this craziness, and to just have Zari and Mick futzing around with the powers in the kitchen doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it was so much fun that you forgive them. You really forgive them.
Somebody had to barbecue those hot dogs.
Yeah, exactly. So did you think that Kawasa had a sad story. Did you feel like her storyline was worth it in the end? That this was a fitting end to her?
Now, full disclosure, I did not watch the CW Seed cartoon about her, so I don't have quite the same longevity of acquaintance with her. I'm not sure she was in the show enough for that to resonate quite as strongly as it could have. I felt bad for her loss, but mostly I think because of what it does to Amaya. I hate saying that. Somebody died and I feel bad for the character I've known longer, but truly, it would have been a lot sadder, I think, had we spent a little bit more time with her. So to me, it was a little bit of wasted potential. I'm a heartless monster. Now you say things.
No, I agree with you in the sense that I do feel like her character was underdeveloped. And looking back on it, for all of these episodes where we end up groaning 2/3 of the way through when the Dark show up this season, if it had been Kawasa that showed up instead, we might have had a different reaction.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So that was my missed opportunity sigh. That would have been good.
Although I will say that Damien Dark and Nate had an incredible moment this week.
Yes, they did. Yeah, is this the best Damien Dark has been in literally years
it's like,
for you?
That's the Neil McDonough I know and love. Like that's Angels in the Outfield Neil McDonough. That's like him at the top of his game. And like, why have I not seen that for the last 3 years?
I would have gone Justified Neil McDonough, but okay.
Yeah, that too. I mean, he's great in both those things.
Okay, let's say it. Tin Man Neil McDonough.
Yeah, there we go. All right. But yeah, he finally has this. He shows a moment of humanity where he just kind of vents and like, this whole thing sucks.
Between the 70s assassin flashback and then this, I feel like the writers have listened to our collective groans every time he appears on screen and are trying to fix it a little bit, because I think he's gotten better this season.
Oh yeah,
more interesting. Well,
well
done, Legends.
You said it. He's gotten better in the last 2 episodes he's been in.
Okay, maybe the season is a little too generous.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. I think that storyline's progressing nicely, and Ava.
Clone Club.
Ooh. Kind of saw that coming. I knew it was going to be something in that direction.
The thing that I wasn't sure about, that I was pleased to find out about, was that Ava didn't know. I was worried that she was keeping the secret from Sarah, and that would make it harder for me to forgive her. If she had this big secret and didn't tell Sarah. So that she was completely in the dark made that more palatable for me.
Oh yeah.
But I enjoyed Ava World. So many colorful jumpsuits. Just so many.
Yeah. And
I always wonder, is it really exhausting for the actor who has to be the same character over and over in different positions? Like, you have to change clothes. So many hair and makeup touches. It sounds exhausting for the actress.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them, they did have that same uniform.
That's true.
The big fight scenes, and I dare say they might have doubled her face at certain points. I don't know if they have that budget, but I think it's possible.
They took that Firestorm money and they were like, we're going to make Ava's face 50 times over.
But yeah, and I think and what's funny, one of the tweets that we got from Ashley at River8878 was that she just finished Legends of Tomorrow and wants to know when Rip Hunter can come back. Rory Pond needs to come back more often, and why can't Nate be with Amaya? They don't know it could work. And as far as Rip, I think Rip should be coming back in the next episode because he has a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, this is true. And we're getting into the home stretch, and I do think we need Rip for any kind of finale.
Yes, definitely.
Shenanigans. Let's see. I super loved Sarah's face while she watched Ava just like destroy everything. That was good acting. Well done, Katie Lotz.
Cool. All right. And cool. Was that I think we're good for this episode.
I think so.
Was there any news?
Tiny bit of news. The next episode is called Guest Starring John Noble, so that tells you some things.
Okay.
We're going to see a young Obama. Furthermore, the finale is going to pull together several familiar heroes and villains who are going to come back, and the showrunners say it's going to draw together all the threads from season 3, which leads into the, I don't want to say dumbest, strangest, wackiest, most off-the-wall news that we have this week, which is a Bleeding Cool article suggesting that Malice could actually turn out in the finale to be a giant sentient Bebo. Which obviously is ludicrous on its face, and yet did the showrunners not say familiar faces returning and drawing together all the threads from season 3? And is Bebo not a thread and quite familiar from season 3? I ask you.
Well, I will say, that is just dumb enough to be right.
Right? I don't know. I read it and I was like, and then I thought, oh.
I mean, I don't think it's as likely that it's a sentient Bebo, but I think at one point when Malice gets knocked out of Nora Dark, it may go into, its sentience may flow into a Bebo.
And then, does Mick make the Chucky joke at that point? Is it Mick?
Yes. Yeah, it's Mick. Mick was the one afraid of dolls. Yeah.
So that's the news on Legends.
All right. Cool. Moving right along. Next up, iZombie. Season 4, Episode 5, Goonstruck. Liv noshed on Brain's poutine from a hockey player and discovered Blaine killed the goon to get to Renegade. Peyton tried defending a zombie bus driver the city wanted to fire for discrimination and learned he and his family were not getting enough brains to eat. Major and Donnie left Seattle and kidnapped a DOD official's daughter as leverage for Chase Graves. Chase was pressured by his counsel to have Mama Leone killed for being renegade rather than putting her on ice. Last minute reveal, Chase had Mommy Leone executed in public, and Liv vowed to continue Renegade's work.
Wow, there were a lot of tones in this episode.
A lot going on.
Like wacky comedy and truly horrifying stuff.
Yeah.
So, whew.
Right off
and lots of skating.
Yeah. Right off the bat, I want to apologize because last week I said this was like a fake out and I wasn't sure Mom Leone was Renegade. And it turns out I was completely wrong. She was Renegade.
Well, I don't know that you could have predicted how they would deal with her character in this episode. Mm-hmm. You know, knowing that this was on the chopping block, maybe she would have changed your interpretation a little bit because it was a little too pat to find her that early. But with this happening in this episode, that sort of changes how we look at all of that. Mm-hmm. It kind of changes the stakes here, does it not?
Oh, yeah. I feel like this just became a whole different show.
Oh, for sure. And it's kind of what I've been waiting for. I was a little discontent with the first couple of episodes. I said last week that the second half of the rom-com brain was when it really started clicking for me. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I knew the show was capable of and what I've kind of been hoping for with this whole new world that they've built. So, it's awful. And I was not expecting that, and it really did unsettle me. And in a good way, well done, iZombie.
Yeah, and it's funny, because watching the Major Donnie storyline, it almost felt like we'd missed an episode. Because there was really no setup. You had no idea. Like, they just show up somewhere driving through the Midwest with someone in their trunk, and you're like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know that they were leaving. And I think it was just an economy of time where it's like, we need to have the storyline in this episode. We can't spend any time on setup. But I like.
Well, and I think there was something about the mystery, the in media res of it all, where you don't really know what they're doing, and you do, and then you have that reveal, like, she's his daughter. And yeah, that was an brilliant evil plan.
Yeah.
Brilliantly evilly brilliant.
Yeah. Also, that whole thing with Donnie at the convenience, at the gas station.
Donnie.
Oh, what a moron. What a moron.
Oh, but what a fun to watch moron.
Yeah. So,
let's see. We got introduced to Levon this week, and that is the actor he was the hockey player who Liv was suspicious of early on. He is going to be a regular and, in fact, possible love interest. And speaking of, to me, this would have felt like a much more natural and heartbreaking Liv Major breakup if standing separated by basically, the fence with the execution having just happened, that being the breaking point for that relationship. I would like to have seen it build and grow and have some more tension rather than the immediate breakup that they had earlier this season. That's how I would have written it, but that's okay. It just continues to drive that wedge between the two of them, which I hate, but I enjoy in equal parts.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I knew Levon was going to be a regular the minute I saw him, because it's like, he's too pretty to be on the CW for just one episode.
He's not a one-shot pretty. That's a multi-episode pretty.
Yeah. It's something about the facial hair. I don't know. Just give that. Oh, that's CW. Yeah,
they could not have cast a dude who is less my type, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. And I'm sure all of Liv's brains will have her all over the place with that. So, Hey, was that really her skating, by the way? It looked like it was.
It did. And I don't think this is that type of show. I mean, I'm sure they probably had stunt skaters at some point. But, and she's from Australia, isn't she?
Good die. Yes. Yeah, no. I was trying to answer with an accent and realizing that was a bad idea. Yes, she is from Australia.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are ice skating rinks in Australia, but don't really think it's a popular sport there.
But they're full of scorpions. It's really sad. It's the most racist thing I've said in a long time. I'm so sorry, Australia. I don't think your ice skating rinks are full of scorpions.
So yeah, a lot going on here. One thing.
So Liv is going to be the new head of the underground. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's a start. I think I like the direction that this is going. Like we're at episode 5 right now, so I can definitely see, like, for the next 2 months, like this is going to be intense. Like, now she is directly putting herself on a crash course against Fillmore Graves. Like okay, this is the thing now, and I really want to see how this is going to play out.
Well, and I appreciate that Chase Graves, Jason Dohring, did such a great job with, he did it. He did it because he had to do it. He didn't really want to do it, but by God, he did it. And that kind of tells you what his interactions with Liv would be like if and when the time comes for, this is another thing I'm going to have to do, even though I don't want to. So, good actor for this part. I'm pleased he's there.
Yeah. And I'm going to put the over/under on 2.5 episodes until she has to quit her job.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Morgue seems like the rock solid premise of this show.
Oh, either she'll quit her job or she'll be fired. Like I understand it's the rock solid premise, but if you're gonna have these two factions going against each other, because like if she's gonna take over Mama Leone's work, like she needs to be close to the border, or at least have be occupying some place that's gonna be easy to get to from the border.
That's true. Well, and it could be the X-Files, they fired Mulder and Scully off the X-Files like 18 times. So I'm sure Liv can get fired and rehired. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying, like, if there is a next season that she can't, be back at that job. But I think that taking on this mantle, this job is going to be more consuming than she thinks. And it she's not going to be able to live the same lifestyle, because at a certain point, she's probably going to be on the run from Fillmore Graves. and because she's also a high profile zombie, so she doesn't have
true.
She doesn't have the the cloak of secrecy that Mama Leone had.
Well, if she just tan and dye, she would have maybe had.
Yeah. A couple, two quick tweets I want to shout out regarding iZombie. First, at BadWolfBay87, our friend Steph over from the Gotham Lights podcast, pointed out that she started watching iZombie this weekend, and she wants to know what you've done to me, what you've done to her.
One of us.
3 episodes down, and she's hooked. Didn't need another show to watch. And also Ashley at River8878 is commenting that we're making her try to catch up on these other shows that she doesn't watch, and she hasn't decided if that makes us evil or evil geniuses.
I mean, we're pushers. We push good TV on people. We push because we care. Sit down in front of the television, please.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I think that's great. I'm glad Steph. Now you had a little bit more of a chat with her. I was saying basically she was happy she picked up, and she had preconceived notions that we proved wrong. Or the show proved wrong.
My portion of the conversation was mostly just excited gifs. That's how I basically communicate these days. So, but yes, I'm. Anytime somebody finds the extreme coolness of this show, I am pleased. So, welcome to the club, Steph.
Welcome. All right.
Have some brains poutine.
Well, that looked good. Cool. Was any news from iZombie?
No real news.
Okay. All right. Ready to move on?
Absolutely.
All right. Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 10, Sins of the Father, the Book of Redemption. Anissa and Jefferson discovered that the ASA was snatching kids again through Greenlight. Martin Proctor confirmed Gamby's betrayal and kidnapped him to draw out Jefferson. Jennifer continued to worry about how her powers would affect her normal life. Lala met resistance from his lackeys when he wanted to take advantage of the Greenlight shortage by bringing more cocaine and marijuana into Freeland. Last-minute reveal, Proctor informed his meta-spotter, Mrs. Foudy, that her boss is Black Lightning.
Ah, Mrs. Foudy, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
I wasn't.
No, God, no. But I did. At the same token, I didn't suspect her.
No,
I just thought she would be the fourth tier character, semi-comic relief. But no, dang, she's the spotter.
Yeah. She's a company woman. She sides with the board. Like yeah. So I thought that was a great reveal too, and really exciting, and a lot happened in this episode.
This has been an incredibly tightly told season. There's not a lot of side plots and not a lot of. Obviously, you don't have that many episodes, but they've just been very, I think, consistently, really introducing information that's going to play in later. So I've enjoyed it. Well plotted, well knit together.
Yeah. I liked 2 Bits came back this week, and I thought that was an exciting throwback. I like the idea that there's a drug leader who's not a kid, who's who's pretty much Jefferson's age, who's out there and in this, and you kind of see what Jefferson could have been if he didn't find Gamby. I thought that was an interesting element, and to bring that back, and I also thought he was a fun character. We learned that Martin Proctor's a jerk.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, that torture scene with Gamby was brutal. That was graphic. Just seeing him wrecked at the end, even after Jefferson saved him. Also, do you really not think that they're gonna just check the back room at his tailor shop?
Yeah, no,
that's not really a safe place for them to hide.
No, it is not. I was also, speaking of kind of graphic things, Lala ripping off some dude's ear and then just openly talking to ghosts. It's healthy leadership. That's healthy leadership right there.
Yeah. But somehow he has, he can guarantee the marijuana and cocaine sales. He's able to bring in all that shipment. I didn't realize that's how drug rings work. Yeah. And what's funny is like those storylines did not connect at all in this episode, and they're probably not going to connect for another few. Although there's only 3 weeks left, so there's only 3 episodes left. But yeah, at that point, that storyline is just weird, and it's okay. It's okay for it to be weird. That's what it's supposed to be. When it makes sense, it'll work out. But yeah. I just thought that storyline was cool. And
I continue to enjoy the Pierce family drama. They're just a good functional family. They talk. Jeff and Lynn, especially, I love it when they're playful. That's they're just mature adults who dig each other and support each other and disagree sometimes. And that dynamic grounds, the photorealistic ghost lady and Tobias Whale just doing all his Tobias Whale stuff. And so I always appreciate those family moments.
Yeah. And I will say there was one other thing that was in here that I didn't even put in the recap because it didn't really fit anywhere. But we're just like Jefferson notices this kid Malik and basically gives him the talk like, you don't have to sell stuff on the streets, come into school tomorrow and we'll start this mentorship program. And that scene was interesting, but it just felt so out of place with everything. And it just felt like we needed to have something else going on in this act, to cut away to between the Gamby torture scenes. And it just didn't really work for me.
Well, you kind of said there, but for the grace of God goes Jefferson. Maybe that was the parallel, that he was trying to make a difference. So, that kid ends up as a high school principal as opposed to running.
I guess. Yeah. It felt a little shoehorns. And it felt a little like repetitive of some of the other stuff that we've already kind of gone over this season. Like I wish they could have done a little bit more Pierce family drama there. But, whatever. It wasn't bad. Just felt a little out of place. Cool. Yeah, it's weird because like I feel like this episode's so good that there's almost not a lot to talk about.
Well, yeah, and like I said, just it's so tightly plotted and everything is evolving at what feels to me like a good rate, that we're getting information revealed in the appropriate time. We're moving the plot forward in this storyline and this storyline and this storyline. And I'm not frustrated with the speed of anything. So just well done, Black Lightning. You're doing great. Keep it up.
Yeah. Now, do you think the ASA is government sanctioned, or do you think this is just some corporation that's, that are just real jerks? That's looking for a way to control.
I would find it more interesting if it was government sanctioned, and then you have other government agencies trying to quash the ASA, which is trying to quash. I think a big government circle could be fun there. Yeah. But it's probably a big corporation. It always is. Shakes fist.
All right. Is there anything more you wanted to talk about in this episode?
Not good. Not so much. No real news either. So,
okay,
that's probably it.
Okay, so that was a great episode. All right, let's move on to Krypton, season 1, episode 2, House of El. Seg-El wanted to take revenge on Darren Vex, but Adam Strange pleaded for time to prove Val-El was correct about Brainiac. after learning of a military guild plan to attack innocent rankless for Black Zero's crimes, Lyta Zod challenged her commander, Quex-Ool, to ritual combat. Last-minute reveal, Strange and Chem showed Seg a scout drone they discovered that proved Brainiac had already arrived on Krypton.
So, how did you enjoy episode 2?
Oh, you didn't like it.
Not as much as I wanted to. I'm trying. I really am.
I mean, you know, there's some interesting discussions that are going on in here. I do think this wasn't as up. There weren't as many jokes in this, but I guess it's because it was kind of serious subject matter. I'm
sorry. Last week they killed the hero's parents. Yeah. I mean, this is a serious subject matter.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, you didn't have as much stuff in the bar. You know, although that stuff was fun. Like, I don't know. I felt like there was some fun, quirky moments in the pilot that I didn't have as much of here. I don't know. I was drawn into it. I you know, really liked the whole idea, of him trying to figure out, you know, he wants that rank and that Science Guild rank, but does he really want to stoop to having to take the Vex name for it? And I thought the way that resolved was very interesting, you know, where Rao basically said, yeah, sure, whatever you want, kid. And
I'm enjoying the snakiness of the Vexes. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously you cannot trust them. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. So, you know, what are they playing at, and what's their end game, and what are they going to do to get there? So I am enjoying that.
Yeah. Nissa Malfoy. I mean Vex. But I think that's enjoyable. I thought the Lyta storyline was cool, and I think it's an example of, I mean, you're on this different world in this different political system, and this is one of the things, one of the reasons I love Star Trek is all of the nautical terms and this, you know, the way ship operations work and protocol and everything like that, and I feel like there was a lot of that kind of thing to sink into here, in a much different direction.
And to me, it just looked like Dauntless from Divergent with the all black and the tattoos and and I don't know how much of that is coming from the comic and how much of that is just inspired by sort of popular fiction of today. Mm-hmm. But boy, that just looks like the Dauntless hangout room. Oh my gosh. That said, the Lyta Zod stuff was great. I mean, you don't think she's going to stand a chance against that big dude, but of course she does. She's Lyta Zod. But, you know, that whole fight scene was fantastic. The reason she did it, her mom's pride, but, you know, stern but pride, that I'm digging that. I like that a lot. I'm enjoying the women characters for the most part. Mm-hmm. I just find Seg to be kind of a I still think he's kind of a shouty, broody blank slate. You know, there's just not. Yeah, he's our lead, of course. Uh-huh. Of course, he's our lead. So I don't know, Ed. I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Yeah. I think.
And then at one point, I looked down and I looked back up, and they were on Hoth. I don't know.
Yeah. I think if we see a little bit more of him interacting with Val-El, I think that might bring it out a bit, or just, you know, stuff of him gambling.
Yeah, more bar scenes. The bar scenes are the stuff that I liked best in the pilot, and I don't know if maybe this episode I wanted more of that. I missed that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think once we see him working with the Science Guild and kind of taking a working class approach to it, I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic, because I'm sure he's going to feel he has to feel out of place the moment he gets there. And kind of, you know, showing them another way of doing things. I think that, you know, because I don't know. I think that could be a fun office environment to watch.
He's gonna bring his blue collar Bruce Springsteen moxie to.
Oh yeah.
The opera class. Cool.
You are so making fun of me right now in your head. I know it.
No. Yeah. I will say I continue to like the set. The one that had the kind of the undulating silver surfaces. I think maybe it was a Vex headquarters place. I like the design eye that they're using, so that's cool. It's good to look at.
Yeah. Although I will say, I mean, the second episode of a series is usually like the key, and it wasn't as exciting as I was hoping for, but I still think that there's a lot of potential here. So we'll see.
Just so many earnest speeches. Just so many.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Was there any news on Gotham?
One article in IGN touched on a lot of different points that I thought were kind of interesting. The first is that the showrunners are describing it now as sort of Flashpoint meets Guardians of the Galaxy, which I like. I like the way they described that. That the Flashpoint gives you the idea that we're monkeying with time travel and history, and don't think how it's going to end because anything could happen. And then, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the interplanetary, outer spacey type stuff.
Although the one thing Guardians has that this could use more of is fuzzy creatures.
I would welcome fuzzy creatures. But only, not Ewok style, but Rocket the Raccoon style.
Yeah.
Angry attitude having furry creatures. Anyway, the showrunners say this season we will visit present day Earth with, presumably Adam Strange as our companion for that. Adam Strange will stay on Krypton and will enjoy Krypton's evolved morality when it comes to sex and such. So that'll be fun. And when they were asked about what other characters we might see, they said chances are good we'll see Omega Men before we'll see any Green Lantern Corps, but neither of them sounds like it's in the running for any time soon.
All right. Oh, so many promises for a show that's future is so uncertain.
Yeah, they another interview they said they could go for 5 seasons, and good luck with that, guys.
Don't say that.
But you never know. The TV is weird. Audiences are weird.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Networks are weird.
Okay. All right. That was the only news, right?
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Gotham. Season 4, Episode 16, A Dark Night. One of my 3 soups. Jervis Tetch, the Mad Hatter, freed Jerome, Scarecrow, and all the other Arkham inmates, and kept Jim and Harvey occupied trying to stop thousands of hypnotized Gothamites from jumping off rooftops. Bruce enlisted Selina to help him try and track down Jerome. Tabitha helped Babs give in to her migraines and use her glowing hands to summon the League of Shadows, who worshipped Babs as the new Demon's Head. Last minute reveal, Jerome and Scarecrow freed the Mad Hatter and moved on to the next stage of their plan.
Now, I feel like I've said this 18 times on the show already, but this was a really busy episode.
Yeah.
All of these shows this week just had a million storylines intersecting.
Yeah. So here's what I was tweeting on, what I was tweeting through the DCTV Report account last night, as I was watching this. So you have, Penguin and Riddler from last episode are now combined, and they're pretty much about to take over the Gotham underworld because they've wiped out everybody else. And then you have all of Arkham Asylum freed, and Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, and pretty much Jerome, if Jerome is the Joker, in the exact place they would be, in the comics, basically fully formed as characters, running amok in, causing craziness. And the League of Assassins has shown up. I'm sorry, the League of Shadows is they're calling him in here. The League of Shadows has shown up, ready to worship, the demon's head. I think Gotham's ready for Batman.
This would be a good time for Batman to show up.
Yeah, like this, like, Jim can't handle this. Like, he's gonna be able to handle it in the show, but, like, let's be like, Jim and Harvey could not get a, like, this is not just a Batman, like, you need Batman and Robin, and probably Batgirl too. You know, like, this is like a whole, oof.
You definitely need a passel of Batarangs.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Like, this is a big problem. The show.
Yeah, no, you're right. They are all amassing. They're all in town. They're all active. They're all seem to be, you don't have Penguin, Riddler feuding anymore. They're all working together. Yeah. So that's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the characters are fully formed. Like, there's, maybe one or two small steps to be at the place they would be when they're fighting Batman.
Yeah, to that end, this did feel like a show that is thinking it might not have another season in it, because they're really bringing in these fully formed, fully fleshed out, in many ways, characters. I mean, really the only ones, and this is from my non-comic perspective, of course, the only ones that feel like they're not quite there yet, they're still baking a little bit, is Bruce and Selena. But everybody else, I mean, am I thinking right, Ed, that everybody else just really is sort of cruising at their altitude? Yeah,
and even Selena with that whip, she just needs the mask. Like, she just needs, and she pretty much has the leather suit. She's just got to tighten it up a little bit. Age about 4 more years, and get the headpiece. But I
feel like she needs a scotch more, not confidence necessarily, but maybe mission or purpose or drive. I think she's on the right track, and she has a sense of right and wrong, but she maybe 4 years. She needs a little aging and a little seasoning. I think.
Yeah.
That said,
and when you say when you say drive, you mean crazy, because that's what makes her so fearless. Is that Catwoman is nuts.
But if she and Bruce want to flirt in cars and almost kiss on the floor of really dirty diners, that's cool too. That's cool.
That diner has to be in Queens somewhere. It's got to be. I feel like I've driven.
Oh, when Jerome chewed that chewing gum under the table, it almost broke me. No.
So yeah. I apologize for dominating that, but I just feel like there's a point to be made with this. But I really enjoyed this. What did you think of the Bab storyline?
I found it a little confusing as somebody, again, who is not super well read in the comics. I mean, I don't remember any of my Batman mythology that I have learned involving lights from hands drawing people to them. I don't know. That was strange.
Well,
that's strange.
Yeah, I mean, Ra's al Ghul does have a mystical element that's often been underplayed in his appearances in other media. For example, Christopher Nolan decided, not to drop the fact that he actually is an immortal. And this one's laying it on a little thicker. It's going to be interesting because, the League of Shadows, or League of Assassins, basically Ra's al Ghul's gang, shows up in both Gotham and the episode of Arrow we're going to talk about later.
It's kind of confusing.
So there's a lot to keep track of. But, that didn't seem as much out of place. The thing I thought that was very funny and very telling was that you have all of these highly trained super assassins, and they are all lily-livered. What's funny is, like, when all the female assassins kill all the male assassins later on because they're all scared of Babs. She comments that we're the tip of the spear, which means, like, we're the super assassins who show up the first time that you call a meeting, which means that if you're the tip of the spear, there's probably hundreds more of you but they're all inferior to what just showed up.
But what you're saying is it might be time for Batman?
Yeah, it might be time for Batman. Might be time. So yeah, I think that's interesting. I think it's time for Batman. I think it's time for Alexander Siddig to show up and for Ra's to be raised back from the dead. And I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Well, that'll mess Bruce up, so that'll be cool.
Yeah. You think it might age him?
Like 5, 10, 15 years?
Yeah. Though, yeah, it was funny. The episode, there was no Penguin or Riddler this episode. There was no Lee, and there's no Alfred, even though there was Bruce and Selina. It's interesting how economically they're handling the characters this week. But again, you don't really notice until you look at the cast list at the end of the day.
That's true. Mm-hmm. They did have a flattened bride and groom, though.
Okay.
They dropped that wrecking ball on that poor couple, and then they kept them under that wrecking ball for a long time. Is all I'm saying.
Oh,
yikes!
Oh, it does have to be said. This is another thing. Harvey Bullock is fully formed now. Because that speech that Harvey gave Jim at the end.
Oh, so good.
That was so good. And that was so when I'm in that thing, I know that I may not get through this, but you will. That you had my back and you would find a way out of this. Oh, man. Oh, I was a little frustrated with Harvey earlier in the season, but it's all forgiven, Harvey. That was beautiful. Yeah. Donald
Logue. I'm genuinely, yeah.
Yeah, hit that out of the park. That was great. And just that moment when he sacrifices himself and you realize oh, man, that's like when Lawrence Taylor gets sacked in the middle of any given Sunday and you just go, hey, watch out with me, I'm worth $1 million. Oh, man. There's a weird moment to compare it to, just thinking about that. I don't know why I said that. Because no one, just people don't like sports who listen to this show. I'm sure people do. Stop it, Palmer. Don't, Palmer, you don't have to tweet about this. Just
I'm sorry, you started talking about sports. I went on a 60-second blackout. Yeah. So are we back?
Yes, we're back. I was just conversing with Palmer, telling him he doesn't have to. You don't have to tweet about this. You can send me a friendly text Sunday morning when you listen to this. He'll probably tweet about it too. But yeah. So cool, Gotham. Cool. Cool. Anything more that you wanted to say? Because I feel like I keep dominating the conversation.
No, not at all. I liked the Hatter's newspaper hat. I again am impressed at how much they accomplished with all those characters. The Jerome Diner stuff was horrific. The soup force feeding and the family and yeah.
And we figured out the Scarecrow problem, with they have a new actor cast to play him, and we're just not going to see his face.
Put a bag on his head.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. All right. Is there any news from Gotham?
Allegedly, we're going to meet the real Joker in the next episode, so I'll believe it when I see it, but that's what they're telling us.
Stop it.
I know. Honestly, if they don't deliver the actual Joker in this upcoming episode, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to take the streets and riot. I don't care that much, but they will have lost all credibility with me. Gotham, do you hear me?
All right. Cool. So move. All right. Last episode. Arrow, season 6, episode 16. The Thanatos Guild. Nissa Al Ghul arrived in Star City to help Team Arrow stop the Thanatos Guild from kidnapping Thea to unlock a secret map left behind by Malcolm Merlyn. An investigation into dirty cops in Star City led Curtis to get the hots for Officer Anastas and Dinah to be suspicious of Captain Hill. Last minute reveal. On her way to leave with Roy and Nyssa to find the new Lazarus pits, Thea told Ollie he should stop stringing Diggle along about taking over as Green Arrow.
You know, the result of this episode was never in doubt and was not a surprise. Of course, Thea, of course, Willa Holland is leaving the show. That has been clear for 2 seasons now. Mm-hmm. It was still really good, and I will still really miss her.
Okay. All right. Now, I have to say something because I didn't realize something until we were doing the pre-show and we were going over this episode. But, like, next episode, we're not going to see Thea and Roy at all. In fact, we're not going to see them at all for the rest of this season. Is that correct?
I think maybe for the rest of the show, however long it runs. They're just off.
We're going to have this pretty good episode that had a really interesting storyline. And, like, the only characters I cared about at the end of this were Nyssa, Thea, and Roy. Like, I just want to spend the next 3 episodes with them on that quest.
They've gone to a farm upstate. I'm sorry.
There's nothing else to do in this show. Like,
I mean, if you want, we can skip straight to the news because it's all about that, and I'm going to rant about that some. But yeah, no, I agree. They were the best parts of this episode. They were the live wires, the ones with the goals, the motivations, the interesting reactions. Nyssa, I like Nyssa's super seriousness, cracking a sister wife joke. That was good stuff. Roy being good at math. I mean, just all of it. Clearly, the writers like writing for characters they don't have to write for very often, and that rewarded those characters richly. But yeah, if we wanted to spend the rest of the season just on a road trip with the 3 of them, oh my God, can you imagine?
Oh my God, that would be great. Like, that actually, this is like one of those moments when you're watching a movie and it's like mediocre, and then they'll mention something that, happened to those characters in their past, and you'll think to yourself, why can't I just watch that movie instead? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, or you have a really vivid supporting character who gets 10 minutes of screen time and then you never see him again. It's like, I want to hang out with her. Mm-hmm. Can we just see what she's doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I continue to not be super interested in B Team. Also, real quick, didn't Renee have a vicious custody fight to see his daughter? And now he's in rehab and she's just staying with his buddy, the computer guy who does vigilante stuff at night. I don't think that's how family services works.
Oh, they never follow up. They never follow up.
Maybe not in your state, but yeah. But no, I don't really care. I don't really care about
yeah. You know
about anybody's new boyfriend, anybody's new hot cop, whatever. Quentin saying I'm not stupid. Mm-hmm. Au contraire, sir.
Yeah, well, 2 episodes in a row where like they've had the moment where like, Curtis has this moment with Zoe, and then you find out something's up with Renee, and I've highlighted that thing with a green marker, and there's no more green that shows up on my pad at the end of the day. And I just like, if you're gonna drop that and not have like Zoe doesn't show up at all for the rest of the episode, like there's no throwback to that, like, and like screw you for making a date while you're taking care of a kid that's not yours. Like, like the whole time he's in the precinct, I'm like, it's after school. Where's Zoe?
Well, and how do you explain that when Officer Hottie comes to pick you up and you're like, okay, well, this is the child of my vigilante partner.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
She's okay on her own. She knows how to handle social services when they come by. So it's cool. I'm just feeding her grilled cheese or mac and cheese or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So she's going to get rickets, but it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
scurvy is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not even Kraft. It's got to be like store brand mac and cheese, right?
Oh, it's straight up the powdered mac and cheese, although that actually is the kind that I was raised on, and that's the kind I prefer. So that tells you some things about my taste.
Oh yeah, I prefer that too. But I mean, like, although no, he'd probably spring for Kraft. He'd get the Kraft brand. You know,
he's got that startup money, doesn't he? He's probably spending it all on
yeah,
fancy mac and cheese.
Yeah. He probably went to Costco, got like a whole thing of the cheesiest. Although I always like the thick and creamy. I don't know. The finer points of mac and cheese.
I'm just realizing I've never bought mac and cheese at Costco. The universe of things I've purchased at Costco, it does not include powdered cheese product.
No.
Who even am I? Yeah, so Oliver, Felicity, Diggle, do we want to talk about?
I mean, I feel like we're gonna have to get into this next episode. Basically, the only thing is, like, it feels like a cheat for Oliver to make that promise when now we know that there was no intention of fulfilling it. And also, like, the fact that Diggle's going to get that upset about it now feels forced. And, like, he's going to pick that fight now. Really?
So for those, are we transitioning into news a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So the preview for next week shows Diggle basically raging, right? Mm-hmm. Because Oliver wants to be the Green Arrow again, which I agree with you. I don't feel like I didn't think Diggle felt that strongly about it. And so that kind of comes out of nowhere. And in fact, EW reported, spoiler, that this whole season has been about stripping away Oliver's support system. Not spoiler, but the whole season been about stripping away Oliver's support system, so he has nothing yet, because the worse Oliver has it, the more heroic he has to be. And so the writers have systematically taken his B team and taken his sister and taken, apparently now, John Diggle. And we reported a week or two ago that he and Felicity are going to have a major fight, same with William. So it's just going to be Oliver alone and on the outs with everybody. Yay. That sounds like fun. Good times. Oh, Arrow. I just want you to be good. I just want you to be not infuriating. I don't ask for much.
It's like we're not gonna get to watch Thea and Nyssa like find the Lazarus pit, and then because they're gonna find the Lazarus pit, and then just as they get there, Malcolm Merlin is gonna be spilling out of it. Like John Barrowman has to show up because he died off screen. Like, I remember when he died, it's like, oh, he's not dead. He's not dead. Like, there's no way. Like, it's not even like it was a body. Like, you didn't even, like, see the explosion. You just heard it in the general direction he walked in. Like,
okay, so I have some bad news. Mark Guggenheim told comicbook.com that he is open to exploring the Thea Roy Nyssa stories in the future and perhaps in other mediums like cartoon, comic book, novel, and that Thea would be welcome back on the show at any time. But I did not get a sense that we will get a special episode where we watch the three of them pile into a vintage convertible and like argue about when to make a pit stop, and Roy eats too many combos on the road and it's a problem. I'm sorry. But you're going to get Oliver fighting with Diggle, and hopefully Dinah will show up and make ridiculous pronouncements about how Oliver lied to her. And I mean, that'll be fun, right? That'll be
murmur.
Peas and carrots.
All right.
Okay, last bit of news. Katie Lutz, of course, who plays Sarah Lance, is going to appear in the finale to help the gang fight Dragon, whoever the gang is at this point. I don't know, maybe it's just going to be Oliver and Sarah. I don't know.
Well, spoiler for Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Sorry. But I am super interested. Will she meet Black Siren, and how will that go down? Will she look at her dad and be like, are you serious? This is sad. She's not your daughter.
You mean she is not your daughter?
That's 100% what I meant.
Okay. All right. Moving on to general news.
Yes. Okay. So here are a couple of broad news stories about the CW verse and the DC TV verse in general. Deadline had a report just a day or two ago, saying that they expect basically all of the network DC TV shows to be a sure bet for renewal, except for Lucifer, which is on the bubble, and iZombie, which is too early to tell. But that means all the CW superhero shows and Gotham would be included in Deadline's "this is a sure bet" to come back next season.
Now, I find that interesting because I follow Cancellation Bear over on TV by the Numbers. And he agrees, except he flips Lucifer and Gotham. He has Gotham as a toss-up, and Lucifer as a probable renewal. Which is interesting. I think that Thursday Night Football kind of throws all of this into the mix. So anything on Fox is a toss-up right now. But like the fact that they're holding over episodes for Lucifer for next season, and the direction that Gotham's going in. Also, the ratings on Gotham, I think, have really slipped. They're kind of at season 1 levels right now. Thank you, Gotham Lights, for that info. But maybe I'm thinking of another show. I don't know. But the ratings have really, really slipped for this. So I don't know. But okay.
But we should know soon. I mean, they have to start announcing these soon.
Yeah,
because it's April essentially.
Yeah,
as you're listening to this, it's April. So,
all right, moving on.
Yes. Second is Hulu Live is a service that brings live television to select cities, and it's going to add the CW to 8 cities. And those cities are Philadelphia, San Francisco, Atlanta, Tampa, Detroit, Seattle, Sacramento, and Pittsburgh. So if you live there and you're looking to cord cut, you can get your Hulu Live CW live. It was news to me that Hulu had live TV. So interesting.
yeah. I think they introduced it about 6 months ago, maybe even a year ago. But there are a lot of those cable cutting services where you can try to get live TV, like Sling is probably the most popular one. But also YouTube has a live option, and Hulu. The only thing is, the channel options are small, and I don't think any of them have all 6 broadcast networks, except maybe Sling. But you have to purchase separate packages for that. So
yeah. See, and this is why I would love to be a cord cutter, but the freelance writing I do for EW.com, it takes me to a lot of different stations. So it makes me nervous that you'd get an email, hey, could you cover tonight? Oh, I don't actually get that channel. So I just pay for the channels. But that's why I was interested in this, because we have to be moving toward a la carte live. This is going to be what we have in the future. So
give it a few years. No service lets you choose your channels. It's all packages. And they always have, even in the bare bones $30, $35 a month plans, there is a heavy number of Spanish language channels in there. Which always confounds me, but it's just the deals that they make with these networks. Like, okay, if you have this one, you have to give them this. So, we'll see. These services are going to evolve, but that's interesting. All right.
Okay, I'm going to crash through the little bit of news we have for shows that are not currently airing. Mm-hmm. The first being Supergirl. Supergirl returns in April, and we have a preview for that returning episode called Shot Through the Heart, and it appears that we have Wynn singing karaoke with his mother, guest star Goddess on Earth, Laurie Metcalf. So, yeah.
And fresh off the heels of Roseanne.
Uh-huh. I was gonna say fresh off the heels of her Oscar nomination, but okay.
Oh yeah,
Roseanne.
Yeah. But I mean, Roseanne was it's
more recent. Yeah,
it's more recent.
And it's. I mean, it is. That's a lot of sides. I mean, the Oscar nom for being the mom we all kind of wish we had and wish we hadn't had on Lady Bird, and then the being back to Jackie on Roseanne, and now Wynn's mom, who, from what the trailer or the preview shows, is not a nice lady.
No. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. I don't really watch Roseanne. I was just thought I'd mention it.
It's been an interesting cultural conversation. I've enjoyed following it online and different critics and different friends, reacting to the whole Roseanne thing, which is way too much to get into, especially looking at the clock where we are right now.
Yeah. What's next?
Titans.
Titans.
It turns out that most of the episode titles for this first season of Titans airing ? On ? Platform costing ? Amount of money. Most of the episode titles are character names. So you've got Hawk and Dove, you've got Starfire, you've got Doom Patrol, you've got Rachel, you've got The Messenger, you've got Jason Todd. So that kind of tells you presumably we're going to have character studies or character-centric episodes. And another bit of news, Screen Rant found a casting call for episode 8 that says scenes will take place in Bruce's mansion. Ooh. So whether we will see Bruce Wayne himself or whether we will see a young lad bouncing about Bruce's mansion, we'll have to see. And could it be, I don't know, could it be Jason Todd? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I think we're more likely to see him, definitely. I mean, if we're going to Wayne Manor, my bet is you don't see Bruce Wayne or Batman, but you do meet Alfred.
Oh, sure, I could see that. Mm-hmm. But it could very well be a Dick Grayson flashback. I assume it could be.
Yeah. Oh, Batman will be in there, but I don't think it feels like that might be the kind of thing where like you don't see Batman's face. I don't know. Like they might kind of do what
kind of like they did in Supergirl, where you kind of saw glimpses of Superman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's that. Right. And the last bit of news, Ed, do you want to handle this one?
Oh, so yeah, Astro City. The film rights to the TV rights to Astro City have been purchased by Fremantle Media, which I think is a British based. They do a lot of TV shows in foreign countries. Has been purchased and written by Kurt Busiek, and Astro City is I'm thinking of the best way to describe it, but it's basically like a superhero anthology show. It's not part of the DC canon. It's a completely independent thing. It wasn't even started at DC. It was originally an Image comic, but it got put into the DC fold. It was part of Wildstorm in around 2004, and the current series, which is in Vertigo, has been a Vertigo comic for like the last 5 or 6 years, but it's Kurt Busiek, gorgeous art, and covers by Alex Ross.
This is one of my husband's favorite comics, favorite newer comics. And we saw Alex Ross at one of the Chicago Comic Cons a couple years ago and did the autograph line and got him to sign stuff and actually draw a version of the Astro City logo that he does on the covers for us specifically. And it's one of my favorite things. It was super cool because that cover art is gorgeous. Yeah.
I was going to say, this is something I've never actually read. I've never dug into it. I've always meant to because it always looked like something I would love, but I haven't really had the time for it yet. So you may actually have some better perspective on this than I will.
I know how highly he thinks of it, and it's one that he's kind of selective with what he says to me. Hey, you would like this. You should read this. And this is one that he said that to me, knowing Ed how when you talk about comics and listening to him talk about comics, I suspect you'd like it too because I think you guys have a lot of overlap. So maybe we should have a book club this summer when TV wanes.
Maybe. We'll see.
DC Book Report. Doesn't that sound like fun?
DC Book Report. But no, I did that. I've always been excited for that. Just those covers always look gorgeous. And I'd be interested to see with the interior art, if it's kind of like Preacher, where it's a completely different style on the inside. I'm sure.
Aren't they always though? I mean, yeah. I just feel like it's always a little bit of Anyway.
But yeah, and now this is a production company that is going to develop this and start pitching it to networks. So this is like the bare bones earliest stage. They don't even have a channel yet. So we don't know if this is streaming or what. And we probably won't hear about this for a few years, possibly. It could get purchased up next week, and then we'll see it. We'll see it a year from now. I don't know, but this is one of those things where like probably not going to happen. The odds of this are probably like 1 in 10,000, but if it does go through, hey, that sounds cool.
Well, I hope it does. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm running out of steam here, Ed. Wow, that would be fun.
Well,
I am happy with this thought.
Cool.
Batteries winding down.
All right. Coming to the home stretch, let's see our winners for the week.
Okay, so I have a runner-up, which is kind of cheating. But my runner-up this week is anybody named Nyssa? Or Anissa, because you've got Nissas on Arrow, Black Lightning, and Krypton. That to me felt more like a trend than a winner. But for me, the winner were leagues, just leagues of all kinds. You have your League of Assassins. You have your League of Shadows. That was on Arrow and then on Gotham. You had a bowling league that Maze had to infiltrate on Lucifer. You had a hockey league that Liv got involved in on iZombie. There were just leagues left and right. Just falling all over leagues this week. So well done, leagues. You had a good week.
Wow. For me, it was people forced to see hard truths. Which is, I know,
that's good.
May happen a lot. But you had Charlotte suddenly told, "Oh yeah, you were God's ex-wife for a couple months and didn't know about it." And Legends Ava found out, "Oh yeah, you're a super clone from 200 years in the future." iZombie Liv Renegade's been executed. And now someone has to fill her place. Black Lightning, I would say Jefferson had to face the facts that he's gonna have to learn to trust Gambi again. Krypton, Seg, learned that, Brainiac is already here and this is going to be a lot even harder than he thought it was going to be. Gotham, you had, I'm trying to think. Oh, Babs finding out, oh yeah, you're the Demon's Head now. And Arrow, Thea said, "Oh yeah, they're gonna worship you as the Demon's Head now." So yeah, a lot of people, mostly women, I think, all kind of forced to see. Oh yeah, this is some hard stuff going on. I found that through all 7 episodes this week.
Yeah, that totally works.
Cool. All right. Well, we're overtime.
In our defense, we had 7 episodes.
Yes.
And we talked a lot about cake, so.
Yes. We talked a lot about cake and mac and cheese. All right. So, yeah, I always feel like there should be something more about this, but I think it's time to end. Let's just end.
Wrap it up.
All right. That's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and check out our sister shows, The Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production, executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!